the December 17th meeting of the LDFA into order, and we'll start with the roll call. Caitlin?
Enza,
Here.
Theobald,
Here.
Brown, here. Hamner,
Here.
Solomon,
Here.
Pesha,
Here.
Swiger, Johnson,
Here.
Schichtel, Warner.
Here. So you have Jeff's email. You have that includes the agenda. And could I get a motion for an approval of the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Any discussion?
Support it.
Do I have a support?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Jen. Any discussion?
Nope.
Nope? Okay, let's go for the roll call vote. Thank you.
Theobald,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hamner,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Pesha,
Yes.
Swiger, Johnson,
Yes.
Tenza,
Yes.
Schichtel, Warner.
Yes. So next up, we have our minutes from our November 11th meeting.
Motion to approve those November 11th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
Support.
And is there any discussion? Hearing none, we will go to a roll call vote.
Brown,
Yes.
Hamner,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Pesha,
Yes.
Swiger,
Waiting for Mike.
Johnson,
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Schichtel, Tenza,
Yes.
Theobald.
Yes.
So now we come to public comments, and I'm going to need some help on the format for the public comments. I think this is an opportunity for any member of the public to address the LDFA board. And Caitlin, is it a 3-minute?
Yep.
So we will open the meeting to public comments. And we see no. Is there any public comments? Okay, I think we're good to close the public comments, and then now we'll move into a review of old action items. Jeff, would you want to take the lead on this?
Yep.
Question? Thank you.
Brian and I had met with Carl Yost of YB Technologies since our last meeting. He has a really unique system that we can regenerate our carbon on site, not have to send it out to someplace else to have it regen. We don't have to dispose of it. And so what we would like to do is we would like to actually go out and do a bid for that and see how much that would be in and competitively bid it. Obviously, we're talking to one technology, and there could be other technologies that could do the same thing or comparable things. So we'd like to prepare a bid document, get that out, and then hopefully probably by our next meeting have that back in the bid document, and then present that to the board about regenerating that carbon for the second carbon canister, to have that on site and regenerate it. So that's really our update on that.
We have a proposal in place right now, Jeff, for disposal of the second carbon canister.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten figures, and we've talked to our original generator. It's really depends what you want. If you want a lower grade carbon, we can probably do it, 35,000 or so. But at that lower grade carbon, you're not picking up any of the chromium, if there's any out there yet. You're not picking up any of the 1,4-dioxane when we start running that through. You would be picking up PFAS only. And then if we do the higher grade carbon, which is what we had in for the hexavalent chrome, if we regenerated that, you are picking up all these other chemicals.
That's at a higher cost, around 50.
For new, and that's without the disposal. So it'd be probably 65-ish with the disposal of the old, and if you got new carbon in. So if we got this bid and it came in, 20,000, I don't know what the price will be, but if it came in at some price below that 60, if the board wants to do that, then we can, save money.
I got a question.
Sure.
So, if you go this route,
Yep.
whether it's the lower grade, the higher grade, let's just say for discussion purposes, it's the better one, the one that picks up more contaminants. Can you help me understand what the word regeneration means? Does that mean that you buy it once?
No, regeneration in this situation would be they'd actually take the carbon out of the vessel. They bring this technology, they bring a trailer and hook up to the carbon canister, actually pull the carbon out. They'll actually strip off of the carbon the chromium, the heavy metals, the PFAS that's on it, all that stuff. They'll actually strip that out through a technology. They'll contain that, and they will have a little bit to dispose of, like less than I think he said less than a 35-gallon drum of waste that they will be stripping off of all that carbon. And then that carbon, since all the places where the chemicals had adhered is now those chemicals off, it can be reused.
Basically, just clean the filter.
Clean the filter.
But the way this would work is that we would replace our current carbon with this newer carbon, right?
Well,
No, we would have that as our backup. Right now, we have two canisters that operate independently.
Okay.
We switched over to our second canister, and we have the first canister that just has spent carbon in it, and we've been sitting on it for like a year. So now, we've been looking at different technologies. How can we do it? Can we just dispose, get new, whatever? So this is a technology that it seems like it could save money, and it seems like it could actually, instead of sending stuff to landfill, we could just reuse it. Now, I don't know what these low levels of VOCs we're getting in, with the low levels of PFAS we're getting in. And when we reroute it, we'll be getting low levels of the dioxin in there. I don't know if the new vessel that we just put on will last 5 years, if it'll last 20 years. I don't know. But I'd like to have the second vessel ready to go, so if the first vessel ever breaks through, we can turn around and say, okay, we have that there. And remember, we are still taking VOCs out with that.
Yeah.
So it is being used. It is I-5.
Yes.
We are going to
You have a
remove
question?
S2 and S1 will be going there when we do that repiping. So
Julie, do you have a question?
So if that brings the waste down to 35-gallon drum, what are we producing right now?
it brings the waste that you scrub off the carbon will be into a 35
Correct.
gallon.
With the new
Right now, it's just adhered to the carbon.
Right.
So they're gonna take
What would we be transporting out to the landfill right now?
nothing. It's all
It's
captured on the
100%.
carbon.
It's 100% waste right now, isn't it? Whatever carbon you.
Oh yeah.
So how
If
much
you
is
disposed
that?
of it, it'd be 5,000. It'd be 5,000 pounds of
And-
carbon. Okay, I
think
didn't
we're-
understand the
Thank you.
question.
And I think we're adding, that's getting carbon to a landfill, type 2 landfill, not
Saving
cheap,
the environment.
not cheap.
Right.
And the concern I have with landfilling our carbon is it is perfectly legal. It's a proper approved approach. But I'm reading several reports of PFAS leaching from carbon in landfills, and I'm hearing increasing reports of landfills pushing back on the option of taking carbon. And in one case, Marcus, the Republic landfill has their landfill in Pearson has sued one of the generators, a major generator, the Wolverine Worldwide source and 3M, and they've had landfills are safe, modern landfills work, but in this case of the Pearson landfill, the PFAS broke containment and is in groundwater and around the landfill, and so there's a liability issue. I'm not saying that would happen with our carbon if we shipped it for disposal, because we're really a small de minimis generator. But recycling it in place, heads that off. It's I call it one less kick of the PFAS can down the road. And this carbon, if I understand it correctly, they're designed to be allowed to be regenerated. I think Jost's technical memo said there's up to 4 times, sometimes more. And so we're generating a barrel of mostly iron and calcium, just things that that you find, solids that you find in water. Now, you asked a question of what happens to how is the carbon treated? Jeff, I think if I understand the process correctly, they move their treatment system, their solvent into the carbon, which is a non-haz solvent. It's a a low-grade, food-grade hydrogen peroxide solution. And their system adds extra electrons, and the electrons go to work on the PFAS, break the carbon fluoride bond, and at the same time it moves the calcium and the iron out of the carbon filter. And in the testing that we did, Jeff, the thing I learned is, our carbon didn't get plugged by PFAS, which is a very minute amount. It got fouled by just the normal water chemistry, the carbon and the iron and the calcium. So this does a good job of cleaning that stuff out, frees up our carbon. We still have a lot to learn about it, and I'd welcome, I think the developer of the technology will be in Michigan in mid-January. I have a technical memo that they sent to us, and welcome any of us to, if they want to learn more about the process, to read the technical memo. There's opportunity to meet with the developer. But we keep our carbon on site. We reuse it. We recycle it. We don't generate the waste. It could be a very good option, but again, we've got a lot to learn. I think the only action item we're asking for the LDFA, Jeff, is to begin preparing the RFP, correct?
Right.
That's all we
Right.
have. And we could save some money. So, Mr. Treasurer, this is probably one of the few technology recommendations that you'll hear from me that actually saves money. I mean, the other recommendations on pilot studies and new technologies to treat PFAS, they add money, but this one, I think we could possibly save money.
We deal with tens of thousands of pounds of carbon a year in my business.
Okay,
It was
great.
a chem bio manufacturer. We have labs and everything, and I would just stress that whatever we do, we have some bit of warranty or liability coverage with this new technology. And I would probably stress, like you want to do, we have one of the high grade brand new carbon ready to go in case you do have a breakthrough. I mean, I think it'll save money in the long run if it works, but while you're looking at doing it on site, have the backup ready to go near term, at least if something does go wrong, or if the company doesn't live up to the expectation of what it does, you can quickly put the second, higher grade carbon back in, because every time we use carbon, we dope it with specific metals and everything else to extract what we want to extract. But reusing that carbon or re-doping it or getting it back in, you have to heat it up. You have to go through chemical processes to strip off and open it back up for to be able to do what it's supposed to do. Is a pretty high-level science application. So I would just stress, if we are going to look at reusing carbon, our backup is, at least initially for the first year, however long we use it, have that new cartridge ready to go at a moment's notice in case something does fail.
Well,
Mike, are you suggesting the RFP should have those requirements?
It should have the technical capabilities, the warranty, the length of service. What does our current supplier say about the system that they designed their carbon for? What are the risks if we do move to
Is that
something
more
like
of an
this?
RFQ? I mean, because you,
Yeah, we know the current supplier of carbon gives us something that meets spec, presumably. I think we do.
They did the last time they delivered, but that was
Isn't
20 years
the
ago.
carbon that we have, the
No.
higher grade, in place now.
Right,
In both canisters, the higher grade.
and you must remember that the canisters we have is built in place. All right, so we can't
Underneath the
have
carbon is.
carbon sitting, another canister sitting someplace. We'd actually have to have somebody come in and remove the spent carbon and put new carbon in. So, though I like having the reserve, I think what we do is maybe in the RFP, we say, hey, you bring it back to 85%, 90, whatever percent of the original, and if you can't do that, then you don't get paid.
Yeah.
You have to bring it back to this level of usefulness, and we won't need, we might not need that canister for 20 years.
Okay.
We
I
might
didn't
need
know
it
how-
in a year, I don't
what the
know.
turnover is. What was the turnover the last
20 years.
20 years? Okay.
So, but we have PFAS now, and when we take S1 and S2 to that's one of the things the EPA wants to see is like quarterly testing for PFAS, and when that breaks through, they're going to say, it's time to change the canisters. Now, that being said, as Brian said, we went and we had the granulated activated carbon tested. What the guy had originally from our data, what he had extracted as the amount that should be in it, we were 10% of the amount he had calculated that would be in it. I mean, extremely low amount. So we're not pulling it. It certainly looks like we didn't pull a higher volume of PFAS out in the past, that it's been pretty much this constant level for a long, long time, and not a huge something out there that fouled and then it went down. So I'm assuming we'll continue that for years, and it'll be years before we have to change it out again because of that.
Jeff, I've had different vendors that different technology for PFAS. We've had a number of PFAS destruction companies come on site, and they've given me a bit different perspective that, based on their experience of other treatment facilities using carbon for PFAS capture, I mean, we may have a window of a year. So I take Mike's point seriously in that we need a backup, and I'm all for getting to see if there's comparable technologies out there. We need to do that. That's the city's purchasing policy, and it's smart for us to do that. There might be something better out there. We need to get to a solution. We need to get to a recommendation, either to dispose of the carbon and buy something new, or follow through with this new idea. Mike, I will tell you that the good news on this new technology is that it's not serial number 001.
Yeah.
My former employer used to really not like serial number 001s
That's what I would
because
worry about too.
this process is commercial, and it is commercial at a treatment facility in Wyoming, Michigan, a company called WRS. And I got to get you the technical memo. They give the location, and they encourage questions. They encourage visitors, and I would really, given your experience with carbon, and I've had zero experience with carbon recycling or disposal, really welcome you diving in on this question, helping us sort through this. The developer is a great guy. Formerly from Michigan, lives in state of Washington. He has the patience of a saint. He's a former 8th grade teacher, so he has to have a lot of patience, and an 8th grade basketball coach. So he would welcome your questions and anyone's questions. But yeah, we need to get through this, and we need to make a call, because Jeff, concern I have is we may not have much more than a year before the carbon vessel we have in place that's working needs to be backed up. So would appreciate, we need to get through the RFP process and get some dollars. But the concern is the concern about the environmental liability and just the cost. I thought was worth diving into here.
So
Are you looking for a motion?
I'm looking for a motion, yes,
I would
thank you,
make that
Julie.
motion that we RFP this and see if there might be other companies out there and what they potentially will give to us.
I think, well, if I may, I think the motion just is that we make an RFP and we put it out. I mean, that's,
Yep.
and I don't even know if you need a motion. If you guys just want me to do an RFP, I can do an RFP and put it out.
Let's go for a motion, for an RFP for a carbon treatment, carbon recycling proposal.
Okay.
And then is there a second?
Do we want to put a timeline on it? Do we want it to something with us like in the next 90 days or 120 days? I mean,
Yeah,
I think we need a,
I think we need a 60-day timeline
Yeah.
for a decision. Is that okay, Mike?
Well, when you say 60 days, you're talking about to have it bid out and
To have-
returned?
I would say to have a proposal available for bid, 60 day, no later more than 60 days, 2 months to put something together.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay.
And then,
And the 60-day mark would be ahead of the 2 months, ahead of the February LDFA meeting, so we can take action
by the February.
by the February.
Yep.
So we can take
To have
action.
the RFP written or to have it
Written.
Yeah.
released and bids back?
No,
I don't think you can have
Okay.
bids back, but at least have that RFP for us to review and, yeah, get out there and get it.
You okay with that, Jeff?
I'd write the RFP and put it out next month.
I
Okay,
thought- I
fair
thought
enough.
Jeff
That's
said-
what-
I thought Jeff said we would have the bids back by next meeting, so I'm confused that maybe it was something different.
No, I'd have the RFP written, you know, it's the holidays, so I'd say mid-January it goes, you know,
Goes out.
and then we'd have the bids back from the people for the February meeting that you could actually say, yeah, this is the one I want.
Okay.
In the February meeting. That's what I would do.
Okay.
You know, we put it out for, 20 days, 25 days. That's all their job is to bid on stuff.
Okay.
The companies the people that are answering us, they should be able to get those back quick to us.
Okay.
So-
Out by mid-January for action by the February LDFA meeting.
Correct.
If there's multiple responses, can you evaluate them by that time?
Yeah, I think so. We should, again, we're gonna see what we get back in, so.
I would support that motion.
Roll call vote, or is there any discussion? I'm sorry. Hearing none, Caitlin, could you call
Brown,
roll?
Yes.
Hamner,
Yes?
Solomon,
Yes.
Pesha,
Yes.
Swiger, Johnson,
Yes.
Tenza,
Yes.
Theobald,
Yes.
Schichtel, Warner.
Yes. Okay, so motion passes, and I think next up on the agenda, Jeff, back to you,
Yep.
groundwater treatment plant operations.
Yep, well, the groundwater treatment plant kept running again. Last month, we did 64.02 million gallons of water was treated. Of that, we removed 8.54 pounds of VOCs, which is pretty much what we did the previous year. Chromium, obviously nothing coming in, nothing going out. So that was zero, we moved on that. Year to date, we've done 694 million gallons of water has been treated and released back into the Clam River. And of that 694 gallons, we removed 88.17 pounds of VOCs from the environment. So very little left out there. I mean, we're getting what's there, but it's not like we used to get. So, and that's the update. That's why we're here. That's what we're doing. So, it's good to see that the numbers keep going down. So.
Any questions for Jeff on the update? Okay. Next up, we've got an update on the progress of the Geosyntec consulting
Yep.
services?
I have not gotten anything back on their optimization. I left that on there just in case they got something back. I could plug it in there. They do have all the data. They are crunching, all the numbers and putting
Oh,
the report
okay.
together. They don't. We're not owing them anything, so it's
Okay.
just a matter of them getting back to us with whatever they find. We will be talking about them, Geosyntec doing something else for us later on, but for the optimization study, they have all the information and they're cooking it on their end, so.
Have they given us a timeline as to when they would get their
Nope,
report back?
they have not. I would assume probably in January sometime they'll do it. And, again, they've got everything. It's the holidays. I would assume they're not gonna come out with anything before Christmas or Thanksgiving, so.
Yeah.
What? New Year's. What did I say? Thanksgiving? Yeah, it'd be New Year's. Thanksgiving's a long ways away. Sorry about that.
Do we have, I mean, do you know do we have contract, we have a contractual, we have a service agreement, and is there any deadline included in that service agreement for,
I don't remember a deadline in that. Obviously they want to get it done as quick as possible and get it to us because they want our return business, and they're not going to dawdle on this. They've been very good about asking for information, so I just think it's, crunching through their models, and, they're putting the information into models, and away you go, so.
so what type of responses do you think, do we expect? I mean, one of them is, what long-term, what do we need to budget for the continued operation of the system,
Right.
correct?
Right. And well, first they're going to look at what we're capturing, what wells are capturing what, how much removal we're getting. They're looking at this quarterly sampling we're doing, which isn't complete yet. We're still waiting for some PFAS. So they're putting that all in the model. At that point, they'll be able to say, hey, looks like the treatment's working really well over here. Looks like the treatment has completed its life cycle over here. You don't need to run these pumps. They're going to be looking at what the well field did when we closed down the well field, how that affects the cleanup. They're going to be looking at, just a whole myriad of things. They should come out with a end date to the cleanup. They should be able to come out and say, hey, the last one we had was 2046. That's the projected end date. So they should be able to do the same thing and come out with a projected end date. They should be able to come out with a projected date that we can start turning certain wells off, like the shallow wells. That was the one that in our last one, they had projected in 2026 that we could start shutting some of the shallow wells off. Well, these guys should be able to confirm that and say it is 2026, it's time. Or they might say, it's 2028. A lot of this stuff is just projection off of what's happened in the past and the cleanup. So they should be able to provide us with a lot of that information. Obviously, once we start shutting down wells, that's going to, first it's going to change the cleanup a little bit because, obviously when you have a well, you're drawing water in, and maybe two wells are fighting over the same water. Now just the one well will be drawing it in. And two, it will reduce our energy costs or our energy consumption, whether one way or the other. So it's going to be a great report when we get it. So,
Okay. Any questions for Jeff? Okay, I guess we'll move on. Next up is the Fleece and Vanderlink
yep.
Consulting.
The thing we're doing yet right now is we're finishing up the quarterly testing. The testing is done. We still have a few samples to come back in. We got to set up a meeting and discuss the recent monitoring data sampling report and update the sampling plan in the new year. So I've talked to Catherine about that. We're going to, the EPA, Catherine nailed, and we're going to set up a meeting and we're going to discuss all that stuff. And then we have to submit a sampling report, and then we're going to reevaluate the sampling plan at that point. Because again, our first sampling in 5 years, we're going to concentrate on sampling where it's where we get the biggest bang for our bucks, where we get the most information. You know, there's places out there that there's just nothing in the water, so why would we continue to sample that quarterly? You know, we might sample it annually, but we're gonna revise that sampling plan with the EPA. And then we gotta complete the ICIAP, the institutional control plan that we have, that we told them we'd work on. We just waiting for all the sampling to be done and that before we even start on that. So that's the big thing. Completed stuff. We've completed the sampling event from the past. We completed the interim sampling plans. We completed the PFAS QAP, the other QAP, the VOC QAP, the ordinance area. We shut down the wells that were in the area. We had the 5-year review completed. We did the well survey recently, and we actually went out and we did the well survey, and then we went out and we actually surveyed where the wells were with 2 different things. One was finding the wells and making sure they're all usable. The second one was, as you know, we just went out and had a surveyor go out there and get the exact location and how high the well casings were and all that. So all that should tell us the flow of the water, which way it's moving, and it'll help us determine, and it'll help with geosync.
Yeah,
syntech
yeah,
too.
that'll help geosyntech.
So, but we're moving forward. We actually did accomplish a lot in the last year, you know, and I appreciate the board supporting us getting all that done. So,
Any questions for Jeff on that item? Okay, next up is results that we have in, and I know a lot of data coming in, and I know this is kind of, it's going to be a challenge to kind of understand the details of the, you know, but let's give it a try, Jeff.
yep. Some of this data you've seen before. I got it up on the screen here. The yellow is anything that is above criteria. As you can see, these are our extraction wells, and I just want to show, you know, there's only one yellow for the 1,4-dioxane, which we had reported before, and that's an S2. And if you look down below that, all these non-detects, all these are tests we were doing, and all of those non-detects you see across all of our extraction wells. We do have some detections, but again, none of these are yellow. They're all below whatever criteria. This is the EPA project action limit, or the PAL. This is what the EPA wants us to hit in this project. These are the Eagle Part 201 drinking water levels. So again, if either one of those were above either one of those, I had highlighted it, and you can see there's none there. We do have some down here though. This is trichloroethene, TCE. This is what we're cleaning up the site for. So we got a 5.4 on a 5. You know, we got a 18, a 9, a 6, 11, 49.9. This is a duplicate. I know that's a duplicate. So again, this is what we're cleaning up the site for. So we would expect to have this in our extraction wells. This is not something that we should be alarmed at. This is why we have the site up and running. These are the, on this one, this is our test monitoring wells. All of our new, this is our sampling event. Again, we have nothing up here in the dioxane. We do have one hit of dioxane over here in K16. That came in, I think, just after our last meeting. That was the only one. That's up by over towards 13th and Leeson, in that area. Again, we can go through here. We had one here of the trichloroethene at 6.9. This one is a 54. Again, and the limit is 5 for the EPA action limit here. These are our monitoring wells. Again, nothing that I'm really concerned about. We expect to find this stuff out there. This M11, I got a map here I'd like to show you guys. Where is it? Oh, there it is. That's up here is M11. So if you got 13th Street, we got the Leeson over here. We got M11 is right over here. So that's just, you know, one sitting out there. This SL 25, going back to the same map, it's way below 8th Street, down, you know, off the screen. I wish I had a better map. This was a map I could grab today. But so it's way down. So they're tremendously separated, the two. But there's nothing really there. We go to hexavalent chrome. This is kind of interesting. As you guys know, the last meeting we had this 174 on this MW7. We retested MW7 because I like I said, there was no hexavalent chrome. I would have expected there to be some hexavalent chrome if this was a real number. We actually had a 34 and a 37 come back in, which is below the levels that we need. So again, that's a good news. So this was, I would say, an error, either sampling error or you know, testing error. I don't know why we had this 174, but it's actually 34 or 31. And MW7 is right here. Again, you got Cadillac rubber, you know, it's just right here is MW7. So that one was there. PFAS results. These are the ones we're waiting for. We still have like 3 or 4 more out here. We have had some hits. This again is the EPA project action limits. We're above that, but below the maximum containment of Michigan for this one. Again, we're above the EPA 5.3 here, and we're above the EPA 5.4 here. These are the new EPA limits, action limits. So they're not enforced yet. None of these are enforced yet, I do not believe, by the federal government till 2031. But we're putting them out there. These are the state levels, and we're all below the state levels.
What's the state level? Drinking water, groundwater?
Our Michigan maximum contaminant, it'd be drinking water.
Yeah.
So-
So we're discharging to surface, so that standard, it really doesn't line up with our surface, but it's a
something we
good
can
standard
do,
to
you know.
compare to.
Obviously, if we make the drinking water standard, we're more than good,
Yeah.
you know, on the cleanup standards.
So where's SLW 100 at on your map?
A 10D, these two, that's 10D and S12D, the two that have some. Let me get to that map. Those are right here and here. This is SLW10S and SLW10D, and this is SLW12S and 12D. Those were both of these had a PFAS sample that they hit. So SLW10D had that one, and then SLW12S had this one. So again, there's no extended plume. There's nothing that seems to be really widespread. It's just hit and miss little ones. And I think that would go with the kind of the narrative that, you know, this industry used this stuff and this other industry didn't use this stuff. You know, so it's not like, I don't think anybody was out there doing something nefarious. I just think it's, you know, how we did business in the past. So, again, I sent this all out. The one I sent out to you guys did not have everything highlighted. I was working on it this morning. I can send out the updated one that has all the highlighted stuff.
You send out the map with it too?
Yep, I can put the map with it, and you guys can take a look at the map. So,
The one with the highlights would be helpful. Just when you send it out, explain what the highlight means.
oh yeah, okay, yep, no problem. But it's again, we're waiting for we have a couple more PFAS ones to come in, but I don't see again anything that is tremendously high out there. So it's just
So Just to complete the data that we've got in, Jeff, I think you did include in the board packet a
Oh.
test result from Eagle.
Yep,
with the
I
outfall.
had two, they're in the packet, thanks, Brian. There was two data points I sent out. One was the, what we did for Mr. Yost YB Technology, that he wanted to test the GAC, the granulated activated carbon, but we also wanted to test what the air stripping tower was doing. So we actually tested going into the air stripping tower and coming out from the air stripping tower. And then the other one result, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but the other result was from Eagle. And Eagle, I don't know if I mentioned it last meeting, they had came out and they had tested the wastewater plant, and then later in the day they came back and they tested the groundwater cleanup plant for PFAS. We weren't scheduled for those tests till the summer. They moved them up for some reason that nobody could tell me why or who ordered it or anything. It really irritated me because you would think they'd be able to say, well, emergent contaminant group wanted it tested, and nobody really could tell me why it was moved up or what happened. Anyways, when we got the results were very comparable to all of our historic data. And it's the Eagle one, if you go and look, is very comparable to the effluent on the air stripping tower. And I mean, when I say very comparable, basically it's the same numbers. So it's showing that we're really close to drinking water, the new federal drinking water discharge limits. Maximum limits were very close. Some of the parameters were low, some were just slightly above, but it's by tenths of parts per trillion that were above or below. So on some of these, so it's very much corroborating what our old historic numbers were. So
The worst case I see is 4.6 for P4. Federal drinking water standard is 4, which is really close to, I think, the prior PFAS that we tested, we did on our discharge. We had, I forget if it was P4 or PFOS, that was just below 4.
Yep.
So not much has changed.
no, it's the same. Basically it's the same numbers. I mean, again, we must remember we're in parts per trillion. So when we go from a 4 to a 5, I really call that the same number. If we went from a 4 to a 50, I'd say there's something there.
Well,
But
we might have on this discharge number. I think we might have some influence on this number when we connect. We've given you the green light to get quotes to get the S1 and S2, which are high with PFAS, and I forget if it's S1 or S2 has 1,4-dioxane in it. We might be able to do some good, some incremental good on this outfall number.
to tell the LDFA group, I did take it upon myself to test the effluent of the groundwater plant for the 1,4-dioxane. We have not got that result back yet, but I figured sooner or later somebody's going to request that we do that. I think we can tell by the extraction wells, since we only have one that is above criteria. All the other ones are going to dilute it down. We should be, I don't know, I won't say a number, but we should be below 7.2 for sure on that, which would be perfectly legal. If you were even to drink it, it'd be legal. But I just wanted to have that number so we have that in our quiver also.
Other questions for Jeff? I have a couple of high-level questions, but I want to invite the board to weigh in. So my questions, on the VOC, on the trichloroethane, we've got some exceedances. We have some exceedances on PFAS, but on the trichloroethane, we have historical data.
Yep.
And the last report you gave indicated that these numbers are continue to track down.
Yep, and that's on this report too. I just didn't go over to them. It's on the 111 trichloroethane and one, both of these is on here. And this is our October. We got all those results in. And as you said, it's trending down.
Trending down.
It's trending down.
That's a good thing. The system's working.
Yep. So it's not unexpected that we found it out there.
No.
That's why we're doing the cleanup. I want everybody to remember that. Sometimes I think we forget. We're like, oh, there's pollution out there. There's pollution. Yeah, that's why we have this board. That's why we're doing this, is to get rid
Well,
of it.
it took, what,
Yeah.
decades to get here
Yep.
and to disperse. And
But you can
getting it back in the corral is a tougher job than dispersing it. So, one other general question, when I look at these numbers that have exceedances, these monitoring wells, the production wells, it's a particular interest to me, the location of them. If they're close in, if they're in the central part or they're away from the boundaries of our LDFA, I think that's better than having any exceedances on the edges.
Right.
And if you could, getting a map with where the exceedances are in relationship to the edges would be important.
And I think Geosyntex should be doing that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That's their job. I can mock something up, but the experts are going to be a lot better at that. They're going to have the groundwater flow. They're going to have the whole.
Well, if you could mock something up internally, I mean, what I am seeing is the exceedances from the monitoring wells and the production wells are interior to our system, which gives us the exterior data that we're getting is below criteria or non-detect, which I think that's what I think I'm seeing. I'd like to confirm that.
Okay.
If that's the case, that tells me that we're keeping this problem into an area where where the water is taking it in and it's being treated. I would be more concerned if there was an exceedance right at the edge of our boundary. That means it may be moving off site. There may be cause for, it may be getting to private wells off our site. That's not what I'm seeing so far.
Right.
But I'd like another set of eyes to confirm that.
And remember, and I gotta say it again. I want to keep getting it out there. You're saying we're seeing these exceedances in the extraction wells.
Yeah.
We are seeing levels in the extraction well, but it goes to the groundwater cleanup plant,
Yes.
and it's discharged at 0. I mean,
Right.
it's discharged at 0. We're capturing that. We're looking for these exceedances. We want these exceedances.
Yes, that's a good.
We want to
yes.
find them. We want to treat them. We want to make them go away. So
But you-
I don't want to. Again,
No.
it's the pollution. That's what we're looking for.
But
you know?
you get my point, though.
Oh, I get it.
If we have a monitoring well that's
Yep.
like right at the edge and it's above criteria, it's very possible it's above criteria outside the area that we can treat.
Yep. It is.
And I guess the other point on the extraction wells, yeah, I'm good that we're seeing it. That tells me the system's working. It's good that the numbers continue to decline.
Yep.
But the other point on the exceedances in the extraction wells is those wells with exceedances on PFAS and VOCs, we probably don't have to wait for Geosyntex report. Those wells are probably not candidates for closure, correct?
Oh no, for sure.
And so there's 7 or 8 of them that are not candidates. So hopefully we'll be able to close the rest.
Well, you look at this one. You got S6. Right here, this guy, and non-detect for a hexavalent chrome. There's a JPEG there. You got a very low dioxane, and then the whole row down there's non-detect. That would be a candidate probably for closing because it's just there's nothing there.
Well, we can-
Now whether they do or not, I don't know, because the flow patterns that this guy might
Sure.
influence, they might say, hey, we got to keep him on even though he's doing nothing because it makes stuff flow a certain way. But there's several of those that are like that. So,
Well, thank you, Jeff.
yep, that's it.
And you'll follow up with some maps.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Tenza?
I'll be brief, and again, thanks to Owen for helping with the interface. Actually, a lot of our expenditures, excuse me, have been discussed today. We have 2 funds, again, just to repeat, an operations fund and a capital projects fund. capital projects fund is a TIF plan. That's our essential revenue. But the big expense outside of consumers' energy, and we talked about it, the contracted lab services. Some of the expenses are under Jeff's purview monthly with operating supplies and repairs. And again, there's a spreadsheet corresponding. I won't go into detail unless Jeff thinks he needs to discuss anything. I do appreciate Owen in the Capital Projects Fund. When we have an expenditure and then parenthetically we say this is how much of what is going to be the end net result in the fiscal year. I think Owen and I agree somewhere in January, February, we should probably do a deep dive to see if we need to amend the budget based on some of the conversations today going forward. But, you know, we really haven't had any significant activity the first 5 months. So just an informational report. If any questions for Owen, me, or even Jeff, for that matter.
If I may, Bill, one of the ones I'd like to highlight here is this operational supplies and the amount of $1436 for LED upgrades. This is stuff that we do that you board usually doesn't even see. There was a consumers grant program out there. We're changing the lights. We're going to use less energy, and we're getting money back, a rebate amount. So this is stuff, I want the board to realize, not only are we running it, but we are trying to be conservative and save money where we can. So.
If it's okay, I was just going to sow a seed also that we've started receiving billing from Fleece and Vanderbrink for the monitoring. And these year one costs, as it turns out, are going to be, I'd received a bill for September services, and that would have kicked it over their year one bid. And then another one now for November is going to kick it pretty substantially over the year one bid because of all the extra work they've had to do. So I think what we're going to do is get them to write up. She explained some of it, but it's going to be a pretty significant year one cost. But she still thinks we're in a good spot according to the message that she sent us for the 5-year term of their monitoring contract because of the work they're doing to kind of refine and hone in on the monitoring requirements. And so in this event, the contractual testing costs, as Bill mentioned, and then that service to actually pay Fleece and Vanderbrink for the testing and the monitoring work that they did will be higher. And so again, as Bill and I talked about it, I like to do like the 6-month review, and then we'll take a look at the budget and make sure we're good going forward, trying to do kind of a once and for all budget amendment so that we have a good grasp of what those costs will end up at. So just wanted to add that on there.
Thanks, Owen.
And if I may, a lot of these costs, extra costs, is directly attributed to the EPA, where they're asking for us to do more and more and more stuff that when Fleece and Vanderbrink bid that, those weren't part of the project. And so we, obviously we're going down that hill. Let's get it done. We want to work with the EPA. Let's not, slow the bus. So.
Yep, and so we may even invite her to when we do that budget
that'd be
amendment,
appropriate.
to have her come and kind of do a, now that this first really, really significant monitoring event is in the rear view mirror, it's probably good to have her kind of come do that
Is that Molly?
summary herself.
Yeah,
Molly from Fleece Vanderbrink. Yep. Thanks.
Thank you, Owen.
Thank you, Bill. Any questions? Hearing none, let's go on item 11, air quality testing. Brian and Jeff.
Well,
Jeff?
Brian has been persistent in us making sure that we are not doing anything harmful to the environment, that there's no toxicity going out of the well. So we've been kicking around what we can do, how we can prove it. And the last time we did it, we had decided that we would go and we'd actually do air stripper influent and effluent, see if we can do a mass balance. We have sent that information out to Geosyntec, and hopefully they'll write us a letter that says, hey, this is what we think. I don't want to put what I think they're going to say. But anyways, I want to go through the results or some of the results and show the board what we had. This is the influent, air stripper influent for PFAS going in. And you can see we have, you know, a 35, a 44, a 36. This is the water going in. And then the next slide here is the water coming out, which is a 34, 39, 42, 34. If you compare the two, this is the water coming out. Some of the water that's coming out has lower PFAS levels. Some of it actually has higher PFAS levels coming out. Again, we're in parts per trillion. When you take this down, that's a 3.4 parts per trillion. Well, if it's a 3.6 coming in and a 3.4 going out, is it being lost in the air? If it's a 3.4 coming in and a 3.6 coming out, is it being generated in the air stripping tower? I don't think either one of those are true. Basically, to me, they're the same number. They're within lab tolerances of what you're in such low numbers. That would be my reading of this information. But we want to go and have a professional engineering company look at it, Geosyntec, and actually do a letter for us and say, hey, we do not believe that anything's being, or we do believe. I don't know which way they're going to go, but the data, there is no glaring, it's a 5 coming in and a 1 going out. It is.
They all matched in and out?
Yeah, it's some, like I said, some are higher going in and less coming out, but they're within tenths, and some are lower going in and higher coming out, and they're within tenths.
Our variables are a tenth of a part per trillion, and
Right.
that's, and I talked to my friends at Eagle, and they're like, yeah, that's the same. That's variability. And we're, as I referred to this, Mr. Tenza, this is a science of goes into and goes out. And the goes into and goes out look alike. So
Brilliant.
very, very highly technical review, but it's the same. But I would just, I hope, I'm asking the LDFA board to spend some dollars to get that affirmed by a PFAS expert. We have one. He didn't get us a quote back
No.
to do that.
No, I sent out to Matt, I said, hey, can you do this? I sent him out the results, and he said he was going to get back to me, and as of the time of the meeting, he hasn't gotten back to us on a price. I do believe it'll be less than 2,000. I think it'll be less than 1,000 actually. But if the board could do an approval for a blanket, anything under 2,000, that we can authorize this company to prepare a report so we can have it and stick it in our file and say we did our due diligence and we're not off-gassing PFAS to the environment. I think that'd be a wonderful thing.
2,000?
I think it'll be less than 2,000.
I'm fine with that. What says?
I think it's really worthwhile. I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Support.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Let's go to roll call. Miss Julie has left the
Hamner,
room.
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Pesha,
Yes.
Swiger, Johnson,
Yes.
Tenza,
Yes.
Theobald, Brown,
Yes.
Schichtel, Warner.
Yes.
The next one, if I may, Brian, I'll jump up.
Go ahead.
And do the next
Sorry.
one. Is the bylaw revision. We're gonna actually, we had given you the bylaws. We had actually, I had not gotten anything back, so I was gonna see if we want to just approve the bylaws as they were presented. We have had some talks with our chairman. He has some questions about why some of his revisions weren't incorporated into the document, and I think he'd like to talk to the lawyer and get a more clarification. Obviously everything that everybody said wasn't incorporated. Some things are probably not justified to be incorporated, maybe stuff was redundant, who knows why stuff wasn't included, but, I guess at this point, I'm just saying, we hold to our next meeting, or did you have that you wanted,
Yeah, committee, I'm proposing that, and I heard a comment, Julie's got a comment that didn't get added, and, okay. But I think we should, have a committee meeting, bylaw agenda committee meeting before our next LDFA meeting, and I would call on you to work, to invite Mr. Homier to that, and I will, and work with Julie and Matt and any other board member that wants to participate in the committee. And just have an opportunity as to ask, well, why didn't that work? Why isn't that included in the bylaws set for approval? So,
Yep.
I would call for a motion
Well,
for a committee.
I've got,
Go ahead, Mike.
well, I've got one comment. I didn't respond to you, Jeff. I thought you were gonna handle it at the meeting. But on the third page, a waiver of notice in writing signed by a member entitled to such notice, whether before or after the time of the meeting, shall be deemed equivalent to the giving of such notice and actual attendance, and it goes on. I missed that day at law school, apparently. So, and if it's all appropriate, fine, but I just may need some clarification.
I had the
or
same comment
simplification.
on that. The 18 hours seemed awful short. I don't know why that.
Well, 18 hours is special meeting,
Yeah.
rules,
Okay.
yes.
Fair enough.
It was whether the waiver and all that,
So back to committee, is your suggestion?
Yes, and I'd rely on Jeff to coordinate that.
Yeah, I'll
Schedule.
coordinate it. Well, probably be in January, though.
Yes.
Obviously, it's,
Sometime before our next meeting, with the hope of getting this approved and off our agenda and moving forward.
Yep, I can certainly, who will be on that committee? Or who was on that committee?
It was Jennifer, me, Julie, and Matthew.
I'd like to be a part of it.
Yeah,
Know
or
what it
or
is.
swap out. Yeah, Mike, you'd bring a lot of leverage to that.
Obviously, 5 or less.
I can,
So-
I'll exit for Mike, because I think his expertise would be helpful.
Is it 5 or less, Mike, half, or is it less than
majority
that?
is 6.
Yeah, majority, yeah, so quorum 6, so yeah, 5 or less we'd need. So who was that?
How do you do that with a full board then? How do you actually talk about this kind of stuff without?
We'd have to talk to you before you went in front of the committee, I would think, right?
We could always do a committee of the whole as well.
Why wouldn't we do that? Yeah.
We could.
And that would be a public meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So an amendment to my request for motion where we call for a motion to hold a meeting of the committee of a whole for bylaw revision.
We could do that prior to our next meeting at 9:30 or whatever.
So, just to simplify, you can just call it a special meeting of the LDFA, talk about bylaws.
Yep.
It seems like there's a lot going back and forth otherwise.
Yeah,
And we come to this public meeting and some of us, it just seems.
some of
I
us
don't know
are in
what-
tune, and some of us are not.
It feels that way,
Yeah.
Come to the meeting prepared with questions.
Yeah.
So our next meeting, you just wanna have a special meeting before our next meeting? Or do you wanna have it off cycle?
Well,
Yes.
we should have our legal there. It's not gonna be a closed meeting. Does it need to be, do you see any reason why it needs to be a closed meeting?
No.
We can just ask questions. I'm,
Just to hash it out and be done with it.
I guess my read is that we have it, I hate to call it another meeting for another day, but just to give it the attention that it deserves is to have a separate meeting. And then get Mike on Teams meeting. And,
Like attend by teams?
yeah,
Or
Can you hear me?
He's here right now. Also.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Mike, what do you think? Can we do that?
So I just want to make I don't have a problem with the committee meeting, but I want to make sure that the LDFA board has the right version. I went through every single comment that I received and made notes in that document addressing each and every comment.
Mike, we just have a clean version in
Yeah.
front of us today.
Yeah, I sent the red line version out though, and then I did the clean version for today's meeting because I thought we were going to be voting on it because nobody had made comments on the red line or on the red line version. I think what's happened is some of the people, their comments, whether they were, they didn't know why they weren't incorporated even though they had the red line version. Maybe they want to defend their position more that it should be included. I don't know. But that's the take I'm getting is that.
I don't I don't know about that. All of the comments that I received, I've addressed in the red line document, comment by comment.
Yeah, Jeff, that one you sent out, right? It's electronic? I thought I saw it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have Mike's information. Look, I think the question for today, if I could just jump in.
Yeah, we do.
Is it seems like there's general consensus by the board that with the chair not here and the chair having some questions, that the board's not gonna take action today on the bylaws. So.
Correct.
Let's just take that and move that off to the side. The next decision part of all this is, it sounds like there are more folks on the board that would like to be engaged in the final tweaks of this document than just the administrative subcommittee, which is fine. So the question becomes, do we call another meeting and just do that as a part of a separate special meeting, or do you just have this as an agenda item on your next regular meeting and do it then?
It's a judgment call, and I don't really have any.
The reality
strong
is you're
feelings.
not gonna get this group together again until after the holidays.
Mhm.
And then when is the next meeting date in January?
19th, I do believe I said.
So, so maybe you end up meeting a week or two before your regular meeting date. Is it worth a week or two? It's not gonna make a difference in terms of turnaround for next steps anyhow. But I'm just throwing that out there. Or do you just have
I
this?
think because of time constraints that some members have for those meetings, though, that I think that needs to be an option,
What does?
a separate meeting.
I mean, is the meeting on the 19th gonna have a full agenda? I mean, I don't know that either. I mean,
Right.
if there's not a lot coming on the 19th, you might as well just do it as a part of your.
21st.
Or
21st, it's the
21st, might as well
21st.
just do it as a part of your meeting.
And give other members time to know that it could be a 2.5 hour meeting, so.
Should it though? I mean,
No.
It could, is my point.
I'm just one voice.
I feel like we added to the agenda in you don't have a lot of time after the holiday. Getting a date on the calendar between the first of the year and January 19th is gonna be challenging for everyone to be there. I would add it to but I would encourage the full board to look at the red line master.
Look at the red line, be prepared.
And maybe email Jeff your specific questions about the comments that are included in there. Because if nobody voiced comments or questions to Jeff about the red line and now have them, like, I think we will be here 2.5 hours if we're not
Yeah.
playing.
Active.
I would encourage members that have questions to just work through them, and so maybe they can get resolved.
You could
And I will resend out the red line copy, and I'll resend out a clean copy so you can compare the two. Well, you got a clean copy in your packet, so I'll send out both, but you can compare the two and,
So Julia, 9:30 start time for the next LDFA, would that
Or
work?
we could start at the 10:30 and just know that it could go longer.
Yeah.
So,
What, that, so, what would be the logistics of that? So we could hold a special meeting And
It
then
would
that
just
could.
be our board meeting.
Oh, okay, that would be in a board meeting, okay. And then we'd resolve it at the board meeting, in a public meeting.
I can't speak for everybody else, but I think for me, it would be easier to stay at the 10:30 and just go
Got it.
longer.
Got it. But that's, what does everyone else think?
I think that's a good idea.
So, and that would that involve setting a special meeting or just a regular board meeting?
It'd just be a part of
Detail
the
that
agenda.
item out a little bit more.
That would be the first agenda item we go into. Okay.
Can have lunch at 2, served.
So does that need a motion? We just,
No,
we just
no.
amend the agenda.
Yeah, we'll just put it on the agenda.
Thank you for all being a parliamentarian, help. I appreciate
And,
it.
and honestly, unless there are other, reports and things that have to come, we'll try to keep the overall
Shorten the
agenda
agenda.
as brief as possible.
Yeah, we can dispense with
Yep.
the financials, things like that.
So, okay, we're good on that agenda item, and now we're into public comments. And I think we're good on public comments, and now we're getting, I'll close public comment. And now we're into committee comments, and I have none. Anyone have a committee comment, Miss Julie?
I just want to say thank you for your public service on this. We have come leaps and bounds in the last year, 2 years. I know public service isn't always a rewarding feat, so thank you very much for standing all together and trudging through the muck and the swallers. Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas, and I guess I'll add to that. I think we're actually, after a while, it's taken a while, we're actually working together. And one, I know this isn't an LDFA board meeting, Marcus, but to get to a point where we could secure the grant, that required some working together quite a bit. And it's a great thing to see what can happen when we work together. So with that, any
Well,
other?
and
Go ahead,
I
Mike.
just wanted to give public thanks to Jeff and Marcus and the team that put together the Eagle grant for addressing the PFAS area by Marathon. That's 8.2 million, I think, and that's huge for the community.
It was a significant team effort, and,
Sure.
as we talked about in this committee and with the city council, we put that ask out to anybody and every agency that would possibly be able to grant us dollars, and this was the one that came forward, this was the one that worked, so, we're very excited and just had a follow-up call with, a staff person out of Senator Hoytiga's office earlier this week, and he assured me that they are working as quick as they possibly can to get the state Senate fiscal agency to get their recommendation together to the legislature to actually appropriate the dollars, but until that happens, can't do anything.
This is these are federal dollars?
Yes, federal
So,
dollars that the state got, that then they'll facilitate to us.
Should be a pretty simple call, but the world of legislature, until we know, we don't know.
Exactly.
Any other comments? So with that, I'll make a motion for a call for an adjournment. Can I make that motion and support? Okay, roll call, Caitlin?
Solomon,
Yes.
Sasha,
Yes.
Weiger, Johnson,
Yes.
Penza,
Yes.
Theobald,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hamner,
Yes.
Schichtel, Warner.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.